Welcome. In some denominations, you'd make a trip to the pastor's study for answers to the really tough questions. Well, let's see what we can do here. Hello. Merry meet, blessed be. And welcome to another session of a very different pastor's study. Depending on how you got here, I'm Aidan Odinson, High Priest of the Temple of Gaia, or Bishop Cal Lippitt of the Universal Episcopal Church and the Universal Gnostic Fellowship. Been away for a few days. First time I've been away for a few days in a few years. Except, of course, trips to the hospital. No, this time it was just for fun. Pure fun in Atlantic City. And I got to see some things and experience some things that I needed to. And I'm glad I did. Because it put some perspective on some things that I needed some perspective. Yeah. Number one is something that everybody with any kind of a spiritual life will need a periodic refresher on, and that is what you need to do to get it to work. Yeah. Now, it's true. I have seen some people who will sit in their corner and, just like the Sunday school teacher says, fold your hands and bow your head and close your eyes and mumbledy, 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 mumbledy. And whether or not it happens is, what, God's will? That's the favorite one, I think. Or who knows what other excuses they have. They're not good enough. Or, oh, who knows? And then there are the folks that seem to always have the right things happen. And you know, it's not always the people who sit in the corner with their folded hands and bowed heads and closed eyes doing the mumbledy-mumbledy. They're not the ones that it happens for. No. Because there's a little bit more to it than that. And some of what they put into it isn't really part of the equation. But they have their rules. We have our spirituality. Now, during the time when this particular show was offline, I spent a fair amount of time in a hospital and a fair amount of time when I was having a great deal of difficulty going up and down stairways, especially going up stairways, which was a real inconvenience at 15th Street Station in Philadelphia when I needed to get off and go up several flights of stairs to get to street level and then get to the office. Well, I'm doing pretty good now. And we did pretty good on the boardwalk. And you know what the difference is? I think it may be the same thing why I am here now rather than a cancer statistic in 2002. Yeah. I had that fight too. But I made up my mind that I was going to win that fight. And I wasn't going to listen to what I called Edith Bunker stories. Now, if you've been around TV long enough to know the story of All in the Family and know the character of Edith Bunker, you will probably know what I mean by Edith Bunker stories. She used to tell stories that anything that would come along, she would have some relative who had something, and so I had an uncle's third cousin's whatever who had that, and he had to wear diapers for the rest of his life. That sort of stuff is the Edith Bunker story. Well, guess what? I didn't listen to that. I did listen to what I was being told spiritually. And in addition to the two-legged doctors and nurses, one doctor being particularly helpful, and a visiting nurse being particularly helpful, and one hospital nurse who was quite the opposite, I also had several four-legged doctors and nurses, Dr. Thor and Nurse Hecate and several others. And we knew we were going to see it through, and we did. That was 2002. This is 2013. Guess what? I survived cancer that long. And so, yeah, it's the attitude. It's the attitude about, I'm going to walk down to the boardwalk, and I'm going to walk a good chunk of the boardwalk, and I'm going to see what's in those stores. Not worrying about whether you can, but deciding that you're going to. And not worrying about whether it's God's will or anything like that. Just, hey, it's going to be. It's going to be. And it was. And it was wonderful. And now I'm back and I'm catching up on my work here. And so, merry part, merry meet again, blessed be y'all. See you next week. Oh, and by the way, you just saw part of what's going into this week's Secrets in Plain Sight. So tune in there, and you'll see the rest. Blessed be. This has been a presentation of the Wise Ones Net. Merry part and blessed be.